Alright, T10ers, we're going to take a look at some compressors, a quick overview and some of their components and features. First of all, we got your typical Swashplate compressor here, and the belt would spin. If you were to hook up the AC magnetic clutch, you can hear it clicking and sparking, and now it turns all as one. Unhook it, pull it. So there's a magnetic clutch under here. When the AC comes on, it engages the compressor shaft to the pulley, and then it's turning around. Okay? All right. There's intake and discharge port. That's the low side. That's the high side. And this one here also has a lock sensor. Toyota is very particular about compressors locking up, so they have a lock sensor. What it basically is a crankshaft sensor that compares the speed to the crankshaft, and if it senses that this is turning slower than the crankshaft, it will tell the ECU that, and then the ECU will turn off the AC compressor clutch relay. All right, so this is fixed displacement. Now let's move on to some more modern things. This will be found on most of our V6s, okay? So what we have an AC magnetic clutch, and again, I didn't mention before, but there's a small air gap there. If that gap is too large, the magnet won't be strong enough to pull the steel in and engage. If it's not enough, where there's adjustable shims in here, it will actually stay on all the time, and then the compressor will freeze up. Here's the lock sensor here, okay? This one has a couple other features. This is an AC solenoid valve. This is a variable displacement swashplate. For right now, if you were to turn it, you'd have no stroke at all. When this comes on, it forces a pressure differential to actually increase the stroke. These compressors are really good because they only work as hard as they need to, or by told the AC ECU, and it saves gas mileage, wear and tear. So this is actually a variable stroke compressor. This also has an AC flow sensor. They tried those a few years around 2014, 2016. I see that they kind of phased those out, okay? So we got AC clutch wire, we got the lock sensor or speed sensor, a flow sensor, and the AC solenoid. These are 3-wire, 2-wire, 2-wire, 1-wire, but then it also has a ground. All right, so we're talking about the swashplate and what's going on inside. This is a swashplate compressor, 7-cylinder, 6-cylinder, and you can see this is a fixed swashplate displacement, and the pistons go up and down, move the refrigerant around. This is kind of the device where you can see the swashplate can move to a different angle, and those pistons will ride on that swashplate. That's how we change the displacement. Okay. On the 6 cylinders, we do have an AC magnetic clutch. On the 4 cylinders, we have what we call a Dampner clutch. It's a clutch like this. Okay. No AC magnetic clutch, and what happens is, since it's zero displacement, the pistons don't move, so really the compressor's on all the time. You turn the compressor on, the AC solenoid makes a pressure differential, so it builds up a stroke and stuff like that. When these break, well, you might say, what happens when the compressor locks up? Well, when the compressor locks up, you see that the pulley moves, but the crankshaft doesn't move. Okay, so this compressor is locked up. It's sheared off these little splines in there, and that prevents from losing the belt. So that's a quick overview of compressors. Next video for compressors will show some failure analysis.